My name is Winnie Makumire-Lilly, founder of Jetlag African Adventures, and I am the African Dream.
Pan-African lifestyle.
What does it really mean to live the African dream? Not just to visit, not just talk about it, but truly experience it, build within it, and reconnect to it. Welcome to the Pan-African Lifestyle Show, the global platform where culture, connection, and opportunity meet. I'm your host, Darrin L. Harris, and here we amplify voices, share powerful stories, and create pathways for Africans on the continent and across the diaspora to reconnect, rebuild, and rise together.
Are you planning to travel, relocate, or invest in Africa? Before making permanent decisions, equip yourself with the knowledge you need to make informed choices. Africa 101 is your guide to relocating, investing, and living in Africa. This is your essential resource, covering the basics and must-know insights to guide you confidently. Download your guide now at panafricanlifestyle.com and take the first step toward a thriving future in the motherland.
Today's conversation is one you don't want to miss. We're speaking with Winnie Lilly, co-founder of Jetlag African Adventures. But before we dive in, I want you to go ahead, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like, share, and drop a comment below. Let us know where you're watching from and what the African dream means to you. All right, welcome to the Pan-African Lifestyle Show. Today we have Winnie Lilly with us today, who is one of the founders of Jetlag African Adventures. And so we're definitely excited to have her with us today. And she operates that business with her husband. And we're going to hear a lot about that and how, of course, Winnie Lilly helps individuals live the African dream. Now, her and her husband, they're in Brooklyn, New York. And so they are right here in America, but they help individuals who are seeking to live the African dream to travel the continent. And there's a lot of other exciting things about Winnie Lilly that we're going to learn about today. So we want you to sit back and relax and enjoy the show, because we're going to talk about her filmmaking. We're going to talk about her as an entrepreneur and how their company helps individuals live the African dream. So once again, welcome to the Pan-African Lifestyle Show. Lilly, we're excited to have you with us today. So before we even begin, why don't you tell us, in your opinion, what does it mean to live the African dream?
Oh my God. The African dream, for one, is real. So the African dream for me is not coming overseas. The African dream for me happens in Africa. I believe there's a lot of diaspora that are now starting to realize that. But sometimes you don't realize that until you come to America or outside of Africa. Then you start to think, wait a minute, I made a big mistake. I need to go back to Africa, because the only way you can live that African dream is if you are in Africa. And unfortunately, you always think the grass is green on the other side until you go to the other side and realize it is not true. So the African dream for me means freedom and being in a place where you are the majority and not the minority. A lot of people that we travel with, the first thing they tell me is, wait a minute, for the first time in my life, I felt the real me. I did not feel like I was going to be profiled for being who I am. So to me, that's the biggest, just that freedom for me.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Now, as reading through your profile and doing a little background history, I learned that you're from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So I will tell you personally, I love Zimbabwe. I've had a personal experience with the country, and I was there actually in 2007. I was able
Oh,
to
wow.
visit. Yeah, it was an orphanage for young people there, and it was
Awesome.
just amazing. And I had some great food as well. But why don't you tell us what was that experience like growing up in Zimbabwe? And, yeah, tell us a little bit more about that experience for you.
Oh my God, I miss it. First of all, I miss it, and I'm ready to come back home. So all you Zimbabweans, don't take your country for granted. I'm telling you, I didn't realize really what it meant until, like I said, until I moved out here. I wanted to get out. Growing up, I wanted to get out. Um when you're in Africa, you are so exposed. Yes, you are physically in boundaries of Africa, but mentally you are so exposed to a lot of things. Growing up, even just what you learn in school, we learn so much geography about different countries in different places. We learn outside of the continent of Africa, so we know what's out there. So growing up in Africa, yes, I loved it, but I did not realize until I got here, because now I look back at my childhood and I just remember, I was in my 20s, by the way, when I left. But growing up, of course, we're very family oriented. We grew up not having to worry. A lot of stuff I learned after I got here about having to worry about who's around you. We grew up with freedom, just being able to go visit your grandmother. I miss that in the rural days. I grew up in the suburbs in Zimbabwe, but we always had that thing where every school break we would go and visit our grandmother. And I miss those days. I remember growing up like that. And then I reached my teens. I That was the rebellious stage. We do get rebellious in Africa too. So and yeah, and growing up listening to I grew up wanting, I did not want to have anything to do with Zimbabwe growing up. We grew up in the British system because we were colonized by the British. So everything we did, the education, wearing school uniforms, and I hated that. I really did, and I wanted out. So I got to high school, and it just started. It was just like everything I say. I was in love with Tupac. I was in love with all those who would listen to that music. I thought I would actually come to America and marry him. And we were just so exposed to the American culture. And even though we're exposed to other places, I made it a conscious effort to get more immersed in the American culture, and I loved it. Growing up watching the Prince, what was those shows with Rudy,
The
and
Huxtables,
the
the
Huxtables,
yeah,
and
the Cosby
yeah,
Show. Yeah.
the Cosby Show. I was in love with Theo. Rest in peace, my husband. But anyway, yeah, I grew up watching all that stuff, and like I said, it only came though around a certain age when I started to rebel, staying out all night, going to the clubs. And we did have those way back in the 80s. I know people see Africa as this place, but yeah, so that was, I can only speak of my personal experiences though. So yeah, I started to become rebellious and started getting very much wanting to do anything that was American. The music I listened to, the style, the dress, everything. I even tried, the most rebellious part I did, I guess, to the extent was trying to smoke cigarettes. And to us in Africa was like, oh my God, what is she doing? I remember me and my friends would watch the movies and see, and we just wanted to get out. But I can tell you now, it's definitely the opposite after what I know now.
Thank you, Lily. Tell us a little bit more about Jetlag African Adventure and how your organization, your company, helps individuals both on the continent and those in the diaspora experience that African dream.
Yes, for Jetlag Africa, that African dream, it all began with like what I referenced earlier about the grass being greener on the other side. Is when I came here, I realized the knowledge gap of a lot of people in America at that time. When I even up to now, and I can tell you, even as of last week, there was a lady I was talking about Jetlag Africa, and she was asking me the same questions I've been asked for the last 20 something years I've been here. And there's that knowledge gap. what is Africa, what is not Africa. Americans growing up, they tell me, even from my husband, he explained to me that they don't learn African history. And for one, and whatever little they know is, I believe, is very, it's very water washed. So they don't really see the real Africa for what it is. They are always shown the bad side of Africa. It's always, and I don't know why everybody always says this. It's that child with the big belly and the flies on their face, the lions, the safari, the jungle. So we realize, wait a minute, what is going on here? Yes, we have that in Africa. And I explain to people, I own that. We have that. Of course, we have children that are starving. We have the jungle, we have the safari. But what we realized with Jetlag Africa was that knowledge gap. We wanted to be that bridge to say, look, yes, we have all those things, but we also have the other side of Africa that they don't tell you about. They look at it, growing up, he always tells me, we just thought it was just this third world country where everybody's starving and there's nothing there. Like, well, and I ask him, like, when right now, let's say I take you to Africa, what was your image? Like, what would you see if you got there? He's like, honestly, I just thought as soon as we get there, we just see jungles. And I'm like, okay, I guess we'd land the planes on a jungle, but but it's that you get that from everybody. And like I said, just last week, another lady said that to me when I was telling her about Jetlag Africa and what we do, and she saw a video on one of it, and she was like, "This is Africa," and I said, "Yes." Now, don't get me wrong. With the internet nowadays, there's really no excuse for anybody to really be surprised what Africa looks like. But growing up back then, I can imagine my husband, who is in his 50s now, obviously at 7 or 10, 12, even as a teenager, we didn't have that exposure. My personal exposure to of the States was just through the radio, music, and the TV. So I can understand, but now you don't have to be controlled as to what you see and what you hear about Africa. You can actually make that effort to go out there and find it. But a lot of people don't, which is fine. And that's where we come in. We want to bridge that gap and show people that there's more to Africa than what you guys have been told, because we feel like we won. So we want you to have the best of both worlds.
So I'm sure somebody's listening right now and say, you know what? I love what I'm hearing from Winnie, and I want that experience. I want to experience that adventure as well. So what can they expect if they, contact you? And we're going to get your contact information because somebody wants that as well. What can they expect by, contacting you and your husband, your organization? What can they expect?
So how it works with Jetlag Africa is we realized, of course, bridging that gap means not just giving people that knowledge or just showing them, because that's what's been happening for years. We realized the best way to experience Africa is to be part of it, to go and be immersed in that culture, to see it for yourself, to feel it, to smell it, and be there among people. And of course, when you talk of being in Africa and being part of the culture, it's expensive. Not everybody can afford to just go to Africa and just be able to pay the airfare and then later on just be able to enjoy all those experiences. It's expensive. And then one thing people always say is they want to go to Africa, but they just want to go with someone who knows. Unfortunately, yes, Africa is a bit intimidating. It is not like how you can just go to the Caribbean and stay at the resort. And, it's a bit challenging in terms of like, how do I maneuver everything? So we thought about all that. And that's how we put together this kind of like concept with Jetlag Africa, where all we need is your following. All we need is for you to follow our channel and our social media handles, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You just have to follow or subscribe, help us with the engagement. And once you are visible with us, the people we take to Africa are people that are very visible, like in terms of like they're always there commenting, they're pushing our content, they are sharing, they are doing what it takes to travel for free. Basically, that's all you need. So we will pay for your flight to Africa. So the concept is You become a follower, you engage, you help us out. Then you go to our website. When you go to our website, you can apply. It's like jetlagafrica.com. You can just apply. There's a very simple form on our website. And then once you apply, then we go through the process of, if you tell us at that time, so we have different themes. I'll just go back a little to the kind of trips we do are all themed. So you might see a trip, for example, we have one that will say Love Across the Ocean. Love Across the Ocean is one of our free trips that we do. These trips are themed in different, because we have to fit our subscriber, the kind of subscriber we have. We have people that are single, we have people that are married, we have people that want to travel as friends. We always have different themes at the time. So if you are following us, then you always know what's going on with Jetlag, what's their next trip. Basically, your trip is free. We will pay for that flight. We will pay for the accommodation. We will pay for certain adventures or excursions that you will be part of. All we want in exchange is your footage. So all that stuff while you are in Africa, we will be filming you, and then we use that footage to show our YouTube subscribers.
So, what countries can people expect to visit?
So the countries, so far we've done, we're fairly a new company. I would say we're just approaching either 3 years or just over 3 years. Sorry, I don't have my bearings right in terms of my the timing, but we're a fairly new country, and we started off with Zimbabwe and South Africa. So right now our focus is Zimbabwe and South Africa. So everything we do right now is either a Zimbabwean trip or a South African trip, but we are working to expand to different other, because that's why we call it Jetlag Africa. We want to eventually expand to different countries. We are looking at Ghana very soon, Kenya, yeah. But we have to establish those connections.
Okay, that's great. And I'm sure, there are people who are listening right now and they have some apprehension and maybe even some fears. And because of some of the myths that they've heard, how do you help on your channel, on your website? How do you help individuals deal with those particular situations?
Oh yeah, we get those a lot. Sometimes we might put out one of our ads, let's say on Instagram, that we're taking a group of people to Africa for free. We get all those comments. I call them trolls. People start talking about how, oh, you trying to take me to Africa so I can get kidnapped or things like that. And we just try, especially it's through that messaging. We actually welcome those trolls, because then it helps us explain our position better, to say, this is for real. I mean, at the end of the day, if you know how social media works, it's all about partnerships. We are a YouTube partner. So we get money from putting content out. We have over 300, we're about 314,000 followers right now. And we want to show our audience, we have to constantly produce content for our audience to stay. So we are constantly evolving and putting out content, and we use those trips. So some people, when they finally take that time to sit down and look at the concept and how it works, then that's when they start the engagement. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. If all you want is my footage or my experiences, you can have it, because nowadays everybody's life plays out on social media. Everybody has a camera in front of them. They're like, well, if I can get a trip out of this, why not? So we just have to go back and explain to people, to say, this is the concept. Once they understand how it works, once people are exposed and they see that, then they come back to us and say, we want to relocate. Right now we work with Traverse Culture is one of our partners, where because now we've exposed people, they're not afraid anymore to be kidnapped. They see what Africa looks like. They come back to us and say, what do I do if I want to relocate? Then I will say, these are the people.
So, Winnie, in terms of partnership and what you know about Pan-African lifestyle, how do you see Pan-African lifestyle and, of course, Jetlag African Adventures working together to help individuals who are part of the diaspora or those living on the continent who may want to travel?
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe in partnerships for one. I always feel like growth comes when you're able to work together. And I feel like as Black people in general, we need to do that more. We find that people that come to us for one have that fear of uh, wanting to go to Africa on their own. So when we take people as a group and travel and show them Africa, our job is to just show them Africa and get those experiences from them. I've traveled with people once on our trips. We'll wake up one morning and say, "Look, I want to invest now that I see what Africa looks like. I want to buy a condo." I remember on 2 trips that we took, we went to Cape Town. One of the guys we took, I woke up looking for him. We normally stay we partner with a lot of the Airbnb properties, and then we went staying one of our locations, Airbnb, and we were like, "Where is this person?" I don't want to talk about his name until I get that approval that it's okay. But anyway, this is an example of what we do. We're looking for this traveler. He's nowhere to be found, and then just after breakfast, he shows up. He's all happy and smiling. I'm like, "Where did you go?" He's like, "I was looking at real estate." I'm like, "What you mean you were looking at real estate? You know, you can't just stay behind. We have to go back to America." He's like, "I know, but I'm coming back right away." So it's those kind of things where we don't really help with stuff like relocation and investments and everything. But people that come to us and know that we will take them to Africa safely, they also have that thought at the back of their head to say, now that I've seen what this place looks like, I want to relocate. So partners with you guys, where even if I have a group trip and we get there, we look for those services where people can help us with the concierge, where we need help on the ground to figure out how do we maneuver this itinerary, how do we get from point A to point B. So partnership with companies like yours will help us do that, because I believe you guys do that as well. But definitely just referring people to you guys and saying, "Look, we took this group of people, they love what they saw, they want to go to the next step of either going back to Africa and investing." So we'll definitely work together at that point.
Tell us what our viewers can expect if they subscribe to your YouTube channel. When they go to your YouTube channel, what can they expect?
So in a nutshell, what Jetlag does, like I explained, we travel with our subscribers. That subscription is your ticket to Africa. So when you go to our channel, you will see, of course, it will encourage you to subscribe if it's YouTube. And then we also have Instagram, and we have TikTok and Facebook. So if you come across any of our content on any of those platforms, you do have to follow or subscribe. Then when you do that, it will take you, there's information about our website, and that's basically where the application process is. But in order for you to go to Africa, it's just not so much the application, it's your engagement. It's you just supporting us, watching our content, so that when our partners come to us, they can come back and say, "Oh yeah, we see you guys have that engagement. This is what we can do." It's all about partnerships when we talk about YouTube and all those. They want to see that engagement. So I encourage people, it's not just about subscribing and then rolling over and playing dead. You have to be part of our culture. You have to share our content. And that's all you have to do. You can grab a group of friends. Like I told you earlier when I explained that we might travel with a group of people that really want to see Africa. Then when we get there, you guys can then just have that free experience from us, whether it's your flight, everything will be paid for, your accommodation, and we get that back. People say that's not true. Why would you do that? We actually I find we actually benefit more than our travelers, because we keep that content. That's ours. Your experiences are now ours. And then we can use that to, in turn, show our viewers, and whatever our partnerships is involving, then we can just use that content. So we do gain a lot from you traveling with us for free.
Okay. Well, here's a fun question, and we'll end with this. So I love to eat, and I love African cuisine.
Yes.
So tell me, what is your favorite African cuisine, African dish that our viewers must try?
Well, it's hard to say African cuisine, but because you know how it is, it's different places. But one I find is very common across different countries and cultures is the cornmeal. We call it sadza. They have it in Kenya. I think they call it ugali. It's like a corn powder, like cornmeal, the one you use to make cornbread. We have that, except we just mix that with water. The reason I love that cuisine is you can eat it with anything. Like you can have it with fish. It's almost like having mashed potato with, let's say, meatballs or ground beef or whatever. You really can't just eat the mashed potato on their own. But what I love about it, you can just mix it with any. And I grew up eating that. In my country, we call it sadza. Uh,
Okay.
Sadza, yes, and you will see on a lot of our content on Jetlag Africa YouTube. We That's what I love about the trips we do. We get people to really taste the different cuisines and stuff. So that is my favorite. It's cornmeal mixed with water, and you can eat it with anything.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to have to try that. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today, Winnie. We definitely appreciate your time and sharing with our audience all about your company. And I'm sure they're going to want to connect. So and you've said it several times, but just before we go, let's give them your contact information, your socials, so the website, so that they can reach out to you and learn more.
Yes, you can find us on www.jetlagafrica.com, and that's just for the application form and also to learn about the company and why we do what we do. All that is on our website. You can go to our YouTube, jetlagafrica.com. I think you just type Jetlag Africa and you will find us. You can also go to our Instagram. Everything, all of our handles is just Jetlag Africa, and you will find us there. We do have exciting trips coming up to South Africa soon. So yeah, go and subscribe, engage, and you can also have an opportunity to be part of these trips. They are free. We pay for your flight. We pay for your accommodation. All you have to do is give us your experiences, and we can share them with the rest of our YouTube viewers.
What a powerful conversation. You know, it's moments like this that remind us that the African dream isn't just an idea, it is a movement, it's a connection, it's ownership, it's identity. We would like to thank you again, Winnie, for sharing your journey and for the incredible work you and your husband are doing at Jetlag African Adventures, and how you're able to reconnect those who are on the continent or in the diaspora to Africa in very meaningful ways. If this conversation inspired you, please don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're serious about traveling, relocating, investing, or reconnecting with Africa, visit panafricanlifestyle.com.
Living a dream, living the African dream.